In the world of live theatre and plays, I think a special level of love and devotion is reserved for the one-act play, for those who write them and those who perform in these more condensed, pared-back forms of storytelling. You can tell a long or a good story in a one-act play. You just have to be a little bit more sparse with words. And as for set changes and costume changes, tell them they're dreaming. Don't You Know Who I Am is an immersive evening of one-act plays that's coming up at the Empire's studio stage in Toowoomba. An unforgettable evening of entertainment it's a collection of 7 one-act plays, all written and, of course, directed by local director and playwright Marianne Buchanan. And the last time I spoke to Marianne was ahead of the opening of her play Breaking Breast. And she joins me in the studio now. Marianne, good morning and welcome.
Hello, and thank you for having me, David. It's really great to be back.
It looks like you've recovered well from the experience of mounting Breaking Breast, which I believe was pretty full on from writing to the production at the end of it. You just...
Oh, I definitely was, and I was absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
And because it was such a personal play, and a lot of it was verbatim theatre, so it was a lot of words that had been said in real time that I'd popped into the show. And in writing it, I had no idea that it would be a 3.5-hour mammoth play.
Right, yes.
I didn't know that. And I came out thinking, oh, that's it. Oh, never again. It's too much. No way. Hell no. I'm not putting myself through that again. And here I am a year later putting on another homegrown independence program with the Empire.
Is it a bit like, I mean, I know it's not physically like childbirth, but is it a bit like childbirth in terms of, yes, it's hard work and it's painful and you come out swearing you're never going to do it again, but the elation that you get from just the whole experience, particularly if it's even gone vaguely well, does that cover up for all the pain that you've experienced and fool you into doing it again? Is that how it works?
Actually, that's a very good analogy for it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. You think through the process, why am I doing this? And, cast are busy in their own lives and sometimes they can't make rehearsals and you think, oh dear, it's hard, it's tricky. But then, come to the show and it all comes together and the lights and the sound and it's,
That's right. Yes, yeah. And then you think, I would like to experience this again, so I'm going to go through all the painful bits just to get here again. Yeah, absolutely. Tell me about, 7 one-act plays though, and as I mentioned, I believe, I've never written one or directed one myself, but I believe that they're great, but they are very much a format or a style of theatre in their own right, because you have to be relatively brief. Are they hard to write, one-act plays?
It's funny. Someone was telling me their situation about moving house and struggling to find a house in Toowoomba. And I felt so moved by the story that I wrote a play about it. I wrote a play it took me a night to write it. I just hammering out there on the computer. And I wrote it in such a way that it was funny and it's got dark humour and comic timing. But you come away thinking, oh yeah. So I like to tell a story. I like to have a bit of a twist at the end.
Right.
And I often find my stories just come to me and the characters just come.
Yeah.
It's very hard to describe.
But from what you're saying, though, it almost comes together more easily than a full-length play.
Well, definitely. There's not nearly as much writing.
Yeah.
And that I can sit down and do it in a night.
Yeah.
And I just imagine it. I can see it performed as I'm writing it.
Yeah.
And the play, the Don't You Know Who I Am play, which is the last play in the session, which is the title.
Yep. Of the whole evening.
Of the whole evening.
Yep.
As I'm writing it, I'm laughing. I'm laughing and laughing because I had no idea from the beginning of the play what I was doing, where it was going to go, and then in the end tying it, wrapping it all up and giving it a bit of a twist. And I'd never seen that I would have put that twist in, but there it is.
Wow. Yeah, so isn't that amazing? Because I've heard this from a few writers, whether they be writers of books or plays,
Yeah.
that, often almost like once you start writing, it's almost like you're reading the book and surprised at what comes over the next page and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, which is weird. You're writing it.
I know.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, that's right. It takes on a life of its own, definitely.
Yeah.
Is it, before we talk about some of the individual plays,
Yeah.
is it, I mean, I sort of said there, costume changes and set changes, can't happen. But I guess that's not necessarily true, is it? Within a one-act play, can you change a set or change
because
costumes?
it's an evening of one-act plays, we do need, blackout over here.
Right.
I'm a puppeteer, another hat that I wear.
Goodness.
So I do ventriloquism.
Wow, okay.
So to fill the spot so that no one's watching the quick
the
set
change. Yep.
I'm there with my puppet Fromo, and we're having a bit of a chat to the audience about the play, how it got written.
Wow.
And
yeah.
Fromo's like, I did not see that coming, and
FOMO's like a Russian, an old Russian man, is he?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
He's a
okay.
big furry monster.
Right. Yes.
It's not a puppet show, but I don't know, bringing my puppet along gives me the confidence to step out in front of an audience because it's not just me, I'm supported by this big furry blue monster.
Yeah, that's right. And really, he's saying the stuff.
He's saying the stuff.
You don't have to
No, not at all.
take the blame for that. That's great. So, as well as the 7 plays, they get a bit of a sort of comic relief and a bit of a explanatory notes in between the plays.
Yes, that's right. And I find that that's a really good way of getting those set changes because they have to be done quickly.
Yep.
I've also got a projector up the back. So I've done what's called a keynote, which is an animation that I've put in for each play. And then,
Right.
so as each play plays, there's stuff happening on the screen at the back. And then I've got it wrapping up and things are added to the screen. Oh, I didn't see that coming.
Right, okay.
Yes.
So there's sort of like to fill in for what you can't say in the set or what can't be fitted into the script, sort of, or are they more sort of explanations about the theme of the play?
Well, it's to set the scene.
Right, yeah.
Because I am limited to a couple of chairs, table, I could go and create a lavish set, but that's a lot of work. Or I could use my computer, pop in a couple of like the sort of scenes that I want and have that in the background, and then I'm not having to do copious amounts of set changes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Or set painting or
set
anything
painting,
like
so which takes hours and hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
As my teenage son would say, sounds like a lot of effort. He says in a disparaging voice, betraying how lazy he is. But it makes sense. Why go to, if you can do it just as vividly with this, then why not take that shortcut? Because it's really about the words, isn't it?
Yes.
It's really about what the actors are saying.
And the background, that animation that adds to it. It creates it sets the scene, it sets the stage, it gives the audience a context to which these performers are working within.
Absolutely. I've only got 2 minutes to ask you, and I suppose you can't describe each one, but there are 7 very different ones. But is there a bit of a sort of a recurring theme through them all, or are they all just completely different to one another?
They're completely different. I've had to knock it back to 6.
Oh, okay.
Because one of my plays wasn't at the point that I felt
It was ready for
it was
staging.
ready.
Yep.
But we are going on tour to the One Act Play Festival, so I'm hoping that play, gets to be aired later.
Right, okay. Yep.
One of the plays is about pirates, another is about witches, another is about the Toowoomba rental crisis, another is about an absolutely deranged director that you would never, ever, ever want to work with.
Wow.
It is not at all about me.
Oh, so it's part confessional, is it? No, not at all. Not at all. Definitely
When
not.
life becomes, theatre and theatre becomes life.
Yeah. Sounds fantastic. Sounds good. Although the one about the rental crisis and the one about pirates could almost be the same play, couldn't they? Really, pirate landlords,
Well,
nasty things.
why not? Yeah, sure. I mean, the pirates, they jump on stage, you don't expect them, and then they're trying to take everyone's money, and
What the
you go.
parallels are pretty stark there. Absolutely. When's it on, and how can people get tickets?
Okay, it is on from the 9th to the 12th of July. Just go to the Empire What's On.
Yep.
Or just even write in, don't you know who I am, Empire, it comes up. It's
It'll
got
come
the
up with it
booking
there.
ticket thing right there. Click on it and get yourself a ticket.
Fantastic. It'd be rare that you would get that level of variety in the one night at the theatre.
Yes.
So well worth taking advantage of.
Oh, I think so. And I'm, really excited to see how it's all come together. When you have a dream and then see it actually happen, it's quite magical.
Must be, absolutely. Marianne, lovely to have a chat to you. News waits for no one, but thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, I'm so wonderfully happy that you've invited me in today. Thank you.
Thank you. Great to have a chat.